What's up, folks? It is the TurtleDork back again with another review. This week I have for you Passengers, starring Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence. So this film is basically about a voyage where we have people from Earth who are basically leaving Earth to start a new life on a new planet. And this is a 120-year voyage to a place known as the Homestead Colony, and two pods open prematurely 30 years into the voyage. So they have awakened 90 years too soon. So these two pods open prematurely, and these characters, Jennifer Lawrence plays a character known as Aurora Lane, and Chris Pratt plays Jim Preston. Now, the way this movie kind of plays out in the first act, it really got me engaged into the film. Now, I don't want to give a lot of spoilers away, but I will say that watching the first act of this film reminded me a lot of Castaway. This really felt like Castaway in space, and I could have spent the entire film just kind of following one of these characters throughout the course of this film. The way this film started off, it was really intriguing and really engaging. And to see that aspect kind of play out in this setting, I thought was very interesting. There's also a nice back and forth relationship that both Jim Preston and Aurora Lane have with the android bartender Arthur, played by Michael Sheen, which I thought he was fantastic. He was really fun to watch, and I loved his interactions with the characters. And he did a great job of really playing this android that can't really feel, but is able to connect and allows these two characters to have somebody to connect to. Now, there's a plot point that happens at the end of the first act with one of these characters that didn't really sit well with me while watching the film, and it ultimately kind of makes you change not just the perception of the character and their motivations, but ultimately the whole film as well. It feels like after a certain incident happens, that going forward in the film, it just makes it a little harder for me as an audience member to kind of buy in to what they're selling me on screen. I'm trying to dance around some spoilers because I really don't want to give anything away, but I just trying to explain the best I can without really giving any type of details away for anybody looking forward to kind of seeing this movie. Now, Jennifer Lawrence and Chris Pratt, I thought they had pretty good chemistry on screen together, considering the fact that we're kind of just with these two characters for the majority of the film, you know, outside of Michael Sheen, who was also fantastic. They work very well together. Now, I will have to say, personally, I've kind of grown a little tiresome of Jennifer Lawrence, but I will say this, that I didn't know how I was going to feel seeing her on screen, if I would like her character. But honestly, her character of Aurora Lane, I really enjoyed watching. I loved her presence on screen, and I really didn't have a problem with her as much as I've had in the other films, whether it be The Hunger Games or other films that I've seen her in. She had a nice presence on screen that was more that I felt was more accepting to me as an audience member watching her on screen. So with the issues that I kind of have from the beginning of this film that happened in the first act, for me, that just kind of carries over throughout the rest of the picture. So watching this film, it took me into a different type of headspace with these two characters, and I think some of the choices and decisions that they make kind of betray who these characters are that we're kind of led to believe up until that moment. And for that, a lot of stuff that was going on, I just really couldn't get engaged and kind of buy into. And I also think that the ending of the film should have ended in a different light, in a different way to kind of make it a little bit more impactful. Again, I'm dancing around a lot because I don't want to spoil anything for the audience. And going back to my original point about this shift or this plot point at the end of the first act, I think that this film could have possibly worked better if you would have took that element of the story and moved that to the third act, because ultimately what that does for the audience is that it lets us in on a secret that I think would have been better served if it was kind of kept close to the chest and was revealed towards the end of the film, and which would have made it more shocking and been more of an impact for the audience. But because this revelation is given to us, we basically are just kind of waiting for something that's inevitable that is going to happen with these characters. I think it takes away from the suspense of the film. It's funny because at the time that I'm doing this review, me and the Disco Dork have actually had a couple of conversations about the film, and I kind of see some of the points that he was saying about the film in defense of some of my criticisms for it. I still feel that those criticisms I have are still there, but I definitely understand as far as like character motivation. It's definitely not hard to understand where these characters are coming from, considering the place that they're at this moment in time in the film. But still, just watching it, there's something about it that just kind of left me not feeling right with some of the choices and the decisions that they've made. So, and I also have to say that outside of that, this is a beautiful looking film. I think some of the cinematography is great. Just the scale and the scope when the camera goes from inside the ship to outside in space, and you see the scale of the ship. And I love the design of the ship, the interior and the exterior of it. There's a lot of great things to really enjoy. There's a beautiful scene with a slingshot past a star, and it looks amazing and beautiful, and it's visually it's a remarkable film to look at. And I definitely wouldn't say that this is a bad film, but I felt that they left a lot on the table that they could have done a lot better. So with that, I'm going to give this about a C-. So I'm going to go with a straight 70 out of 100 as far as my score for this film. But go ahead and let me know what you think of the film, and go ahead and comment, like, rate, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And go ahead and check out my other dorks at Sidewalk Siren, at Mouth Dork, and at the Disco Dork. And for me, I am the Turtle Dork, and with that, I am